This week's episode of Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by Start New Company. Register your company immediately today with ASIC. ABN, TFN, GST registration is also available directly from the portal. Also set up your family trust and self-managed superannuation fund and more. All at startnewcompany.com.au. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/startnewco and keep an eye out for our regular specials. Start your new company now within 10 minutes of lodgement. All legal company documentation provided after registration. startnewcompany.com.au. And also brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. All our servers are operating on SSD drives, immediate activation, SSL certificates, Aussie support, domain registration, and more. Easy install WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, and 300 other one-click installations. Generous space and bandwidth, auto backups, WordPress help and maintenance plans are also available on Contact. If your webpage is important for your business or your life, contact us today. Aussie support, secure services, athwebhosting.com.au. And now for the show.
Welcome to episode 726 of the Aussie Tech Heads. I'm Jason Oakley and this is Will Tompkinson. Hey, Will.
Hey, mate.
How's stuff going up your end?
I think that's a very personal question.
Reminds me of a certain Family Guy cartoon.
It does. Well, I can't complain too much. We have power in like half of Queensland at the moment. So
What happened there?
Apparently somebody pressed the wrong button and power station went boom. I don't know.
Oh, not the self-destruct button. Don't they have the countdown like on TV?
Yeah, but the difference is it doesn't stop at 1.
Self-destruct in T-minus 10 seconds.
So I don't know exactly what happened. I think there was one of the... We've got, obviously most states do, but Queensland's got a couple of coal-fired, they're constant load stations, so they're the ones that supply the base load. So there's always X amount of power flowing into the grid. And then if they need more power, they bring the other ones online. And one of the, they got two, the way I understand it, they got two main generators, like generator 1 and generator 7 or something, because apparently the other 5 went missing, like they had a garage sale or something. But
eBay, did you check eBay?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, one of the generators, like, it failed. Apparently it's a pretty spectacular explosion from some of the photos I've seen. And yeah, like power from basically the Gold Coast to like Mackay to like Esk, like just so many people don't have power. We're lucky. We got Swanbank down the road, but it's weird because we have power, but suburbs close to the Swanbank didn't, so I'm not quite sure. But during the day,
it's lucked out.
Yeah, during the day it's not so much of an issue because there's heaps of solar to support the grid. Overnight, when the base loading comes in, there's some places that struggle for power. Apparently, for the next,
they should have got Powerwall.
They reckon for the next couple of months, there's going to be rolling blackouts.
I heard it could be up to a year before it gets fully fixed.
Yeah, I think the way they're thinking is the next couple of months they'll be sort of random, intermittent. Who knows where they're going to be blackouts, and then after that they'll be actual scheduled rolling blackouts. It's going to depend a bit on the load. But you can tell, like, you look at the Amber electricity power program, like app on their phone, and they give you predictions on what power's going to cost and stuff. And currently during the day it's 16, 17, 19 cents during the day. And overnight, it's not too bad tonight. They reckon the highest peak's only going to be about 48 cents. 50 cents at, when's that going to be? 9 o'clock tonight. It's going to hit 50 cents. Then it's going to go back down again, about 22. But when it happened, oh, there we go. Tomorrow night, 6:30, peak loading time. See, 6:30, 7:30. It's going to be like $1.80.
You know what my peak is tonight?
What's that?
24.
Yeah. Well, mine's currently.
But 7 a.m. $1.83.
Mine's currently 22. But the thing is, like when this happened, when this blackout happened, I checked the app, and I was seeing, like normally we talk 20 cents a kilowatt. I was seeing $22, $25 a kilowatt.
Yeah.
When it first happened.
And they saturated their backup link to New South Wales as well.
Yeah. So so it's fun. And it's funny, we were talking a couple of weeks ago how Victoria, I think it was Victoria and New South Wales, or South Australia and New South Wales, wanted to start charging people for feeding back into the grid.
Yeah.
And it's like, right there shows you how dumb of a move that really is, because the only thing supporting the grid during the day is people's solar. So if you start charging them for the export, they're just going to turn the solar off. And you won't have this free power that you're currently getting. So stop your bitching.
Stop giving us too much free power.
But yeah, so it's, we're actually starting to almost have winter at the moment. We've been getting to 27, 28 during the day. Yep. And like 4 of a night. So
I wonder what mine's been recently. It wasn't too bad today.
We fired up the new fire pit the other day for the first time.
20 today, but Saturday is raining and top of 15, low of 9.
9, yeah. See, we get colder, but our days are still quite warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the eclipse last night, we fired up the new fire pit and tested it out.
Yeah, I saw the photos.
And it works well.
The fire and the super blood moon.
Yeah.
You saw that?
There wasn't that red up here, not like yours. The photo you put up was really
that was
red.
just a photo taken with my Galaxy S20 Ultra in night mode.
Yeah, it's amazing what phones can do now.
You have to hold it infuriatingly still, because it's like I got a 5-second countdown and I'm going to pick the best thing. So don't. And I had to do it like 4 times because just the tiniest little shake of your hands and it's blurry. Try again.
You're supposed
holding
to,
it.
Supposed to
is that song finished playing? This was my last radio show I was doing ever last night. So I put on a bunch of songs and then ran outside every now and then, and I finally got a good one. Really nice. It even got some stars around it and everything.
So you're supposed to put in a tripod for that sort of stuff because it's such a long exposure.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, I didn't have one with me at the station.
Yeah.
I don't know if I still got my tripod. I might have given it away or sold it or thrown it out or something.
Yeah, I got a few of them.
My new dash cam has arrived. Got to install that. It's another over the revision mirror dash cam that connects with another cable up to the back window for another dash cam, and it's got touchscreen with you can play back and record now and stuff like that on the screen and set it all up from a touchscreen. It's supposed to have an app. The company is Asdome, which is in Hong Kong, but you go to the Google App Store and their app is not there. So you could use that to download and view the stuff on your phone, or even say start recording now and stop if you wanted to get a particular thing.
Yeah.
But the app doesn't exist in our app store, so at least it's got the touchscreen. I can do everything there anyway.
You might be able to load that from their website. You can backload them a lot of the time.
They link to Google Play Store.
Oh, they don't have it.
And it says, sorry, this item doesn't exist.
Maybe it's just not up for their version, particular Android version.
Well, I messaged them on Twitter, but haven't heard anything back, so we'll see how it goes. But it should be pretty cool having a touchscreen one, and it's got better quality cameras and nighttime, and it's got lane warnings. So if you start to wander out of your lane and beep, 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 stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. It wasn't that expensive. And then tomorrow should be arriving some stuff for my 3090 graphics card. I'm going to replace the thermal pads because the ones that come standard with it don't let you overclock very well for your mining. And new Arctic Silver that was recommended on a page that video I saw on YouTube. And you have to get isopropyl for cleaning off all the old stuff. So that's coming sometime the next couple of weeks.
Metho works perfectly fine.
I might have to borrow that from Dad because I haven't had any use for Metho. He always had Metho and terps for some reason.
Yeah,
he used to do a lot of painting, so I guess you have terps for that.
I mean, you use Metho for everything, cleaning.
I don't think he was drinking them. I can't be sure.
Metho you can drink. Terps you wouldn't want to drink. That'd be a bad day. Metho you can drink. It's still a bad day, but at least you'll live.
I used to put it on pimples and scratches and stuff.
Or you can use it for cleaning. We use it for all sorts of stuff. I use it to clean my print beds for the 3D printer.
And floss your teeth.
I try not to. Not so I don't drink it on the odd occasion, but
if it's there and there's nothing else, what are you supposed to do?
It's also a good fire lighter.
Yeah.
But I like the Arctic Silver. I use that all the time.
That's so at the moment I'm doing 97 mega hashes, but it should get up to 120 with the new thermal pads and Arctic on there.
Nice. Yeah, I got to go through my graphics. That could be the problem with my graphics card, actually. I got to go through and check that. I could be having overheating issues every time I play a game or start mining for more than 5 minutes. My system crashes. So.
Get a program, Tech Power Up GPU-Z.
Yeah, I got it.
And it tells you why the power is being throttled.
It just crashes.
That crash. Mine was throttling because of overheating, and it would tell you the memory temperature. It's not the graphics card temperature; it's the memory chip's temperature that was the problem.
Yeah,
because you have a look at the mining, and it says temperature 53 degrees, but the memory temperature is 110.
Really?
Which is not good.
Mine never got that hot. My card got to like 75, and my card memory got to like 82.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's like good. That's where the new thermal should bring it down to 82.
Yeah. Well, the card I've got it's one of the radon ones, but I can't remember the number off the top of my head. But it's thermal. It's liquid cooled by default. So.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, mine just got 3 fans on it.
It's actually really quiet, even when it's on flat out. You can hardly hear it.
Yeah, mine's going there with a big industrial fan in front of the case as well.
That makes a difference.
And the AC every now and then.
Well, I was going to say, the way I've got my aircon's basically like this room is an added on room. Like it was modified. Like there would have been a wall right here originally in this room.
Oh, but might have been a better image for the podcast.
Yeah, well, they've pushed it back 4 foot. So there's like this little alcove thing where the wall sort of still comes out from the side walls a bit.
Yep.
So I've got the aircon mounted directly straight above my head, and the computer's sitting sort of mounted to the inside of one of those jutted out walls.
Ah.
So I just put a bit of cardboard like directly below
direct
the
it down.
And so the aircon always blows down straight into the computer.
Oh, nice.
So it likes that.
Yeah. In fact, I just noticed that my 3070 wasn't mining very high, and I saw that the overclocking was switched off for that one. Don't know why, but I fixed it now. Should get about 60, 61 all the time. Although I do see interesting things. You know, the Ant miner I've got, which is 14 terahashes. Some days the accepted speed is 22 terahashes.
Yeah.
Today it was 9, but then it goes back up to 14, and then if it says 22, you don't believe it from the app. It has to be what NiceHash tells you is their accepted speed.
Yeah, on the website.
And yeah, sometimes it just says 22 mega hashes, even though it's only a 14 terahash, 22 terahash, not mega.
Yeah.
22 terahash accepted speed. So
well,
get some good stuff.
On the Unminables one, mine's expected at 50 is what it averages out to, but it reports back at 70 usually.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm not sure. Maybe it's because the difficulty's dropped recently because everything's tanked.
Yeah.
That's probably
could be it.
Because that calculation's based on a fixed difficulty. So as the difficulty changes, so does the...
They're on their way back up again. So just hold your horses, people.
Yeah, well...
This is not something you do for the short run.
Dogecoin's on its way back up again.
If Engine's going to have their jump net be released sometime in the next couple of weeks and connect to what was that other network? I can't remember now. And then they'll be doing a lot more stuff, and they're partnered with a few other companies too. It's going to be powering the next generation of gaming. And Age of Rust just got released, so I want to have a look and see what that's going to be like. They've only just released it in the last few days, I think, and it's supposed to be a really good 3D MMO or something that's got backed by Engine.
Is that the sequel to Rust?
I don't know. I think it'd probably be something completely different.
Let me have a look. Age of Rust. Let's see. Powered by Engine. It's single player. Okay.
Is it? Oh, okay, yeah. There you go.
Single player, first person shooter. Looks alright though. It kind of reminds me of. It's got a very MechWarrior feel about it.
That sounds alright.
Like just the way it sort of looks. It's got that. If you ever
I might download it on the weekend.
Shut up. Stupid autoplay websites. If you it's okay. It scared the crap out of me too. If you've ever played the old like mid to late 90s MechWarrior.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me of that. Kind of a cross between that and Blade Runner.
Oh, all right. So, I'm going to join their Discord later tonight.
Have a party.
No, I'll probably be going to bed straight after I join it because I'm an old fart. An old fart geek.
An old fart who's a geek.
Do we do some news?
We can try. Not making any promises though.
There's something missing though.
Yeah,
where is it?
You can thank the update for that.
It's probably message gone. You'll have to just tell everybody about it.
I don't remember anything about it. Yeah, so you can get the Patreon is a thing. You can find us on there, patreon.com/AussieTechHeads.
Thanks to our subscribers, you guys rock.
You do.
And girls and others.
And yellow balls and skulls and whatever else is on there. Yep. Yeah, that helps us out, and we'll be doing another Patreon only show hopefully in the next week or two. For those who don't know, me and Sonia have just bought the company I've been working for the last 10 years. So the last couple of weeks have been a bit of a blur. Trying to get on top of that.
And they'll be accepting all the cryptos too.
We do accept cryptos, yeah. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll kind of get on top of that and we can start getting some sort of regular semblance of programming back again. So I apologise last week and probably this week as well, but last week watching the video back, I was just so out of it and disjointed last week. I apologise for that. I was dog-tired and I was having technical issues, so that helped. Helped tremendously.
Lucky most people listen to the audio version.
I don't think I was much better on the audio. I think I was horrible on that too. My audio was so overdriven last week and I don't understand why. I think I fixed it this week. I don't think it's going to be.
Is that a hit film thing?
No. I just think something was. I was just having problems in general last week, so I just don't really know. Hopefully, I'll fix it this week, but I guess time will tell.
Yep.
So, all right, let's go through the huge amount of news stories we have this week.
Huge. Yum Brands, the operator of KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, has swallowed Australian kitchen order management and delivery technology Dragontail Systems for $93.5 million. Dragontail has quickly established a following among quick service restaurant chains, counting the likes of Domino's and Pizza Hut as customers. If approved, Yum Brands said it intends to take Dragontail's AI technology and scale it globally across its operations. With Dragontail, we expect to tap into the power of AI to accelerate and further enhance our delivery technology capabilities, especially at Pizza Hut, and optimize the end-to-end food preparation process. Dragontail's platform is currently deployed across nearly 1,500 Pizza Hut restaurants in over 10 countries. If the scheme is successfully implemented, Yum Brands intends to scale and offer Dragontail's platform to its brands around the world over time. In an ASX filing, Dragontail Systems says that Yum Brands has agreed to pay $93.5 million in cash for all of the issued share capital in Dragontail on a fully diluted basis. Well, there you go. I didn't know they own both Pizza Hut and Domino's.
No conflict of interest there.
I wonder if it's the, you know how they've got an AI robot that scans your pizza to make sure it looks right?
No, but anyway.
Yeah. every pizza gets scanned through a robot system that measures whether the pizza was made to Domino's standards, and if it's not, it'll reject it and they have to make it again.
It's probably the same robot that determines whether you get 12 or 13 screws in your box when you buy a shelf.
Yeah.
You either get 12 and you need 9. You either get 12 and you need 27, or you get 143 and need 8. So it's probably the same.
It evens out in the long run, right?
It's probably the same robot. I don't know, like, I used to make pizzas for a living, like not just like crappy Domino's pizzas, which I used to make as well, but I used to actually make proper gourmet pizzas, like from the dough through to the prep work and cut everything up. Like we used to do it from end to end, make the whole lot. You know, you get a massive, big family pizza, a big 24-inch, you know, family pizza for, you know, $32, but it'd feed 400 people, you know.
Yep.
And it used to take to assemble a pizza, assuming it was a custom pizza and you're taking the ingredients one by one, because that's how people tend to give them to you, even though you can remember them. But anyway, let's say it took a minute to make the pizza. It takes 7 minutes to cook in the oven. So it's an 8-minute process from the time you start the order to the time the pizza's done.
Yep.
You can't physically cook the pizza any quicker, because if you turn the oven up, you burn the bottom and you don't melt the top.
Yep.
So it's got to take between 7 to 9 minutes. That's as fast as you can push a pizza through. And the quickest you can make it is about 30 seconds if you know what you're making, or about a minute if you don't. So I'm not sure how long these people... And it was less in Domino's because the bases were pre-made. You didn't have to stretch a base or make a base. They were pre-done.
Yep.
And a lot of them were already pre-sourced, so you didn't have to do that.
Yep.
I could literally get a pizza from order to production into the oven in 15 seconds.
Yep.
And they push them through in 6. And then they pull them out, cut them, and box them in about 30 seconds. So in 7 minutes, you've got a pizza from end to end.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how much time saving.
I think
that's
the quality to make sure they put the right amount of this and the right spacings and.
Or you could just train your staff properly. I mean, you know.
Yeah. If you pay them properly, they'll work properly.
The thing is, you can spend $50,000 on a robot, or you can spend an extra 5 minutes and tell your staff how to make a pizza properly. Like.
Did you see McDonald's in the US is offering a free iPhone if you take one of their jobs and stay for a minimum of 6 months? Because people don't want to work there for.
This shows you how
$10.
things have changed. When I was at school back in mid-90s, one of the best positions you could take was, as a school leaver, was a McDonald's position.
Yep.
And stay there for like 3 years and become a manager, because McDonald's management was considered one of the best trained, highly developed managerial positions in the industry.
Yeah.
Now, you don't even want to step foot in the place for fear that, you know, like you'll be ridiculed for working at McDonald's. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what's happened so much in the last 25 years that they've gone from being top of the industry leaders' most sought after position to not anybody ever wanting to work there.
Yeah. There's always everyone saying, what are you just going to end up slinging chips at McDonald's or something?
I mean, it used to be
as a put down.
You know, well, that's it. But it used to be a fantastic position.
Yeah.
I never actually worked at McDonald's. I have worked at several other takeaways and fast food places. But I have friends who have, back in the early 90s, did start working at McDonald's. They started off when the first 6 months they were there. All they'd do is they'd unload the truck and they'd pack the freezers and they'd reload the fridges and they'd learn the customer service. They wouldn't even touch the kitchen for the first 6 months.
Yep.
Then he got put on like apple pie and hash brown because they were the hardest to screw up. So you got given those for like 3 months until you could do those, and then you went to like fries, and then you went to like
burgers.
You know, burgers was like 2 years later.
Oh.
You couldn't go. It took a long time to work up to burgers. You did all the ancillary stuff. You made the salads, and you did the nuggets, and you did all this other stuff. Burgers was like the last, and then when you did do burgers, you'd start on the cheeseburgers and the hamburgers and the fillet of fish burgers, and you start on all the basic
easy
ones,
stuff,
and you'd work your way up. Yeah, and then, but I got friends who went right through that process, and they stayed with McDonald's for like 3 or 4 years, and they ended up being managers at McDonald's.
Yeah.
First, just store manager, and then after another 12 months, some of them ended up becoming area manager, then state manager, and there's a couple of them have gone on to be a couple of friends I sort of still know about have gone up to be like national branch managers, like they're in charge of all the branches in state, and they communicate with other states and sort all that out. Like they're top guns,
I think
you know.
I watched one of those what do they call them, the surprise boss thing.
Yeah.
And the CEO of Domino's Australia started off as a driver, worked his way up.
Yeah. And then these were really sought after positions, but now you tell someone you work in any of those places and they'll just laugh at you, like, and I kind of get it, because they've shot themselves in the foot. The entire staff base has an average age of 11.
Yeah, they can pay them nothing.
They pay them nothing. They don't train them. They don't give them any sort of, and that's part of the reason you get them there. You are paying them less, but you're supposed to be training them.
Yeah.
Not just letting them have free reign in the kitchen, cocking up every order that comes in, screwing everything up, making a hash of the place. Yeah. That's not
hash brown of a place.
And that was the problem I had with Domino's. I had been with Domino's previously, and I moved and went to a different Domino's. It wasn't actually, it wasn't a franchise. It was a privately owned one. And nobody in there had a clue about anything, because they were all school kids who only worked there one night a week and thought they all ran the place. And it was just horrendous. And
a mess.
You wonder why these places have bad names.
Yeah. There's another takeaway place in the US said, when you come in for an interview, you can have all the sides you want. That was their... And people are like, why don't you just pay us a better wage? No, you can have some chips and stuff when you come in, or you can have a free iPhone if you stay for 6 months, but we won't pay anymore.
Yeah.
Like, well, why do I want to work there?
I mean, I get it when somebody starts. You don't pay them. And this is the whole... Okay, so America has this intern system, which we don't really have here. We kind of have it similar. We have an apprenticeship system, but it is different. But the whole point of an internship is you spend 12 months, you work for you work for nothing. They literally don't pay you anything. You do get benefits, you do get you do get your schooling paid for, you do get certain government funding. But the company you're working for doesn't pay you. But the whole point of that 12-month internship is to learn how that profession works, and to be trained up enough at the end of the 12 months that hopefully that company or a similar company will hire you.
Yep.
Whereas here we have something similar. We have apprenticeships and traineeships, which you do get paid a minimum wage, but the principle's the same. You get your minimum wage, you get your education over your 2 or 3 years that it runs for, and then at the end of it, you become fully qualified. You can work in the industry, you can make your money. The problem with places like Macca's and Domino's and a lot of those sort of places, they put them on at that with that enticement. They go, oh, look, you spend 2 years with us, and you've had this much industry experience, and you can do this and do this, but they don't, because they treat them so poorly that taking the low wage side of it away and assuming it's a training mechanism that you're going to be better off in the long run. They treat them so poorly and don't educate and don't train in any way, shape or form that's useful, that after 3 or 4 months, they're like, well, why am I here?
Yep. So they lose and another kid comes in.
Yeah.
And the next one leaves and another one comes in. So it's always rotating.
And what any energy or effort they have put into training is thrown out the window, and they've got to start again.
Yep. So
why not just train your staff properly once and not have to worry about it?
Nah. This way is obviously working much better. High staff turnover must be great.
As somebody who has done staff training as a living, it was my job to train and educate staff to put them into the workplace.
Yep.
I know the value of having correctly trained staff, because once you've taught them 70% of what they need to know, you've taught them enough that they can figure the rest out for themselves, and the ones that can't, you don't want there anyway.
Yep.
You don't want to tell them everything.
It's a good test.
Yeah, you want to give them enough information that they're self-sustaining, and then working on the theory that they'll continue their own educations based on the fact that they want to do this job and they want to do it better.
Yep.
If the ones that do are the ones that you invest your time and energy in, the ones that don't, the ones you let go and you find somebody else. But when every single staff is that category 2, it's got to be telling you something.
Yeah, definitely.
No, dear.
You want me to do another one?
Speaking of...
you got some.
Yeah, I got it. What do you mean have I got... Of course I've got at least one.
I didn't know if you wanted a turn after that rant that went for half an hour.
Well, maybe. Shut up. Speaking of boss mode... Oh, wait, this is Quake mode, but... This got us... When we were talking about the story earlier, we got sidetracked. A lot of the old games used to have what they call boss mode key. So if you're playing a game on your work computer and you hit F11, it'd pop up it'd minimize the game and bring up the windows back behind it. So it was called boss mode.
Or fake Excel spreadsheets or
yeah.
DOS or something.
Something. But Microsoft is bringing Quake mode to Windows Terminal. So
say what?
So for those who don't know, Quake mode goes back for many years that I can recall. But basically, you if you have a window that's called _Quake, so if you have a text file or you have in this case it's a terminal window. If you press I think it's the Windows minus key, I believe it is. The terminal's automatically snapped to the top half of the monitor. It can't be resized. It just sits there. Excuse me. It forces focus, so it takes the focus over. It's hidden from the taskbar, so you can't alt tab to it, and you can only have one Quake window at a time. So in the game Quake mode, it was the same thing. You could press the Windows minus key and it popped the game up, but it didn't show up on the start bar or anything like that. So if you're alt tabbing through your other programs, you wouldn't accidentally bring it up. But it's the same thing Microsoft has done in Terminal now.
So the boss can't see it till you're working? Is that it?
More for a bit of fun than anything, I think. But basically, version 1.9 of Windows Terminal introduces Quake mode. Allows users to fire up new terminal instance from anywhere. Basically, it's a shortcut to Terminal by typing in shortcut Windows plus the tilde key, Windows and tilde in this case. That can be dismissed with the same shortcut. The terminal is snapped to the top half of the screen and can be used straight away. The new setting emulator also... So with this version of Windows Terminal, users can set it as the default emulator Windows, allowing any command line application to launch inside the user's selected terminal emulator. For example, double-clicking on PowerShell will automatically open inside Windows Terminal Preview. The new setting is in the just-released Windows 10 Insider Preview. They can be found inside the console property sheet. We've also created an italic version of its Cascadia font, which is developed just for terminal use, which you can grab from GitHub. And they're adding Arabic and Hebrew characters to the Cascadia code in mid-June. They're also allowing customizable keyboard shortcuts to help with the editing of things inside there. So I just thought that was pretty cool. That they're having a bit of fun with that application. Completely pointless for the most part, but
fun for old fat
but
geeks.
Yeah, it'd be it's fine. I think yet another Windows shortcut that everybody's going to forget how to use in 6 months' time.
Definitely.
Because there's a lot of them.
On the Mac, you can do Apple Space to bring up the Sherlock search bar. I do that on Windows and it doesn't have the same effect. I've got muscle memory. Instead of going window button and then typing in what you search, I do window and space, and I'm like, no, that's not what I want. Oh, I'm not on that machine anymore.
Yeah, it's funny how you forget keys. Like, obviously, people remember the things they use, like Alt Tab and Control Alt Delete, but then you forget there's like Control Alt Shift and Windows Shift something, and all these other keys you can bring up. Is it Control Shift T? I think it is.
I use Control Shift V to paste plain text without all the bold and underscore and font stuff.
So apparently, Control Shift T brought up Windows Terminal tips and tricks shortcut page in the browser.
That's what you wanted.
That's interesting. So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of tricky little. Remember, you used to have.
What browser have you got? Mine Control Shift T brought up the last browser tab that I closed. In my history, it brought it back.
No, that was in Chrome.
Oh, this is Firefox.
Yeah. Do they still have character map? Remember back in the day, you used to have character map.
Chart map, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
there.
there.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Launched it.
You used to be able to, like,
Wingdings.
you used to have a couple of characters when you're typing the resume to get the little thingy over the top of the E's.
Oh, the accents, yeah.
Yeah, you can bring them up. I know it's I think it's Alt 0255.
We used to memorize all these things back in the day.
Alt 0 something, Alt 0233, something like that. Used to bring up the E. And then there was one for. I used to use it. Oh, the one that used to really cause issues when you used it in your password was the equivalent for space.
Yep.
Because it wasn't actually a space bar space. It was a different space.
Oh, yeah.
So it was something like Alt 206 or something used to bring up what would be the equivalent of the space bar, but not the equivalent. So you couldn't press space bar to make the thing. So it was great for putting in passwords and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or making text batch files and text documents that other people couldn't read because they couldn't figure out how to get into it.
Yeah, kind of like web page non-breaking space kind of thing.
Yeah.
Stop the word wrap happening.
That's it. Word wrap.
Wrap. Microsoft says it has mitigated an issue in its Office 365 service that automatically routed regular emails directly to users' junk folder instead of to the inbox. We're investigating an issue in which emails being sent to the junk folder, they said in an advisory at 7:20 a.m. today, Australian time. The company said at 8:47 that it had reverted a change and observed successful email delivery. We're now reprocessing any emails that were incorrectly delivered as junk. Enterprise users would be well advised to check their junk folders for the past few hours this morning. Administrators reported trying to troubleshoot spam filtering settings on users' accounts before the bug was acknowledged. It's the second issue in the past 12 hours of Office 365 that was caused by the introduction of errant spam rules. Though it was unlikely to have impacted Australia and New Zealand businesses greatly, owing to the timing. Last night, Microsoft broke email forwarding for about 3.5 hours. We determined that a recently deployed spam rule is causing the impact. We've prepared a fix and deploying it to affected infrastructure. Users of the Cloud Productivity Suite have become accustomed to frequent issues and rollbacks in recent months. So don't trust all your stuff to it.
Just don't use Office 365 at all.
There you go.
Just don't. There's many other better programs that are free and don't cause anywhere near the heartache that Office 365 does. In the last couple of months, the amount of bugs we must have reported on, it's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they charge you a fortune for the privilege.
And then outages and...
So with that, would they just issue the mail servers to evaluate what's in the spam folder?
Yeah.
Because they don't store the emails per se, do they? Like, they can't resend an email effectively.
No.
Yeah, so they're just gone. So
once it's received, it was supposed to go in your inbox, but it went to your junk. So they just say reprocess the junk and
so if you've got
filter it
a
as you should have.
schedule that empties your junk mail every hour, you're screwed.
It probably would be.
Great. Yeah, no,
that's one of the bonuses that our anti-spam system from work does, is it can retroactively apply rules to emails that are in junk or inbox. If we find something that got into inboxes and it shouldn't, and we put in a block, it can take it out of the inbox and go into the spam and vice versa.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I often wonder how that works, because I mean, I've had it happen.
The simplest ones, just go chuck it in junk. That's done. You have to go find it if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Then have a lot of people yelling down the phone to their customers. We did send you an email. It's probably in your junk. No, nothing ever goes to junk. Well, just look. Oh, it was in my junk.
Well, that's funny because I don't normally have anything at all go into. I mean, with my Gmail I do, but with our hosted email addresses,
yep,
I have almost never have anything go into the junk folder or the spam folder in there. But I noticed it was last week before, something like that. I went in there and there's like 40 emails in there. I'm like, what the heck? And one of our suppliers must have something in their client settings somewhere, and every single email they sent had asterisk, spam, asterisk, and then the thing.
Yeah, that's probably Spam Assassin, which is built into Control Panel. You can change the level that it works on or turn it off if you don't want it to, in case it's going to wreck it. But Spam Assassin, I think, is usually the one that adds in the spam tags.
But it's funny, it's only this one supplier.
Yeah,
and
there's a rule there somewhere.
I don't know why.
Probably heuristic anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Like, they don't send much in their email. They say, here's a copy of your invoice number, such and such, and they send the invoice.
Yeah. It could be their signature that it's tagging on even. I see that kind of thing all the time.
And it's just like so annoying because they're like, will you send us that invoice? So I was sent them, like, you haven't sent it. And they're sending like, why? But
one of the domains I had, I hosted with the G Suite, and you can manage it like a full system, but it's just like webmail, like Gmail, only you can do it for business and it didn't cost anything.
I used to like G Suite. It was alright, actually. They don't do it anymore, I don't think.
It was sweet. G word.
They got rid of it, didn't they? Because they got rid of that when they got rid of Hangouts and that other one. Their group messaging thing.
Yeah.
What was it? I can't remember what it's called now.
Wave.
Group? Not group. Wave? Yeah, Wave. Yeah, that's it. I think I kind of got rid of all that stuff at the same time.
Have a look at killedbygoogle.com.
There's a lot in there.
It's the Google graveyard, and all 229 things that have been killed. Google Chrome apps is getting killed in about a year. Android things, Google Hangouts, AngularJS, Poly, Tour Creator, Timely, Google Cardboard's going, Google Crisis Maps going, the Google Go links, Tiltbrush, Loon, AppMaker, Google Home Max, Cloud Print, Google Play Music killed 7 months ago. Nest Secure killed 7 months ago. Password checkup extension.
Oh, they're getting rid of Loon.
Yep.
Loon was a good idea. Well, they probably don't need it anymore. That's why.
Yep.
It was basically
not when you got somebody else chucking up satellites.
Yeah, Loon was basically. It was an interesting concept. They basically just put up weather balloons effectively.
Pass the internet through them.
Wi-Fi with glorified Wi-Fi routers on them, and gave internet coverage to areas that didn't have it. It was actually pretty cool. So they're getting rid of cloud print because most printers now have their own cloud print servers.
Printing stuff.
So I understand why they're getting rid of that. Cardboard.
Inbox by Gmail. Did you ever use that? I tried it once and didn't really like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it. That's probably why it's going away.
Oh, Google Plus would kill. Everybody knows that.
Google Plus.
Google Allo. Instant messaging.
That was the Cardboard doesn't really surprise me. I mean, Cardboard's been around for like 6 or 7 years now, and they haven't really done anything with it.
No, it was good to get people introduced for cheap.
Yeah, it was an entry level VR, but it just they never. They could have done a whole lot more than they did.
They had a lot of potential, but
I did like the one they killed it 15 years ago. The Google Desk Bar.
Oh, right.
I actually used to use that all the time. It was great.
Yeah, because I remember that now.
You could use it like a shortcut bar. So not only was it a search bar, but you could actually put your apps in there that you used all the time. And yeah, I used to use that a lot. That was actually cool. So, but Google Answers, that was their version of Ask Jeeves.
Yep, or Yahoo Answers.
Yeah. So.
Which I think is already going away because everyone just goes to Quora now.
Yeah, well.
It took over.
But, that's might have to go through that one day and do a show just based on all the old stuff, all the old tech all the old internet.
There's a thing on the Mac that's called getting Sherlocked as well, because there was a company that brought out a search system that would index everything into a database on your hard drive and all your emails and everything. And then when you typed in a search for any phrase, it would search all of those things, and it would pop up email in the email program or a web page or whatever you had. And then Apple built it into their operating system, and the company didn't have a product anymore. So there's a few applications and stuff that have been Sherlocked in that way, that Apple has just built it in what you used to have as your company's funky product. They thought it was so good that instead of buying the company, they just built their own.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Not like those shavers that you like so much that you buy the company. Remember that ad back in the day?
What? Yeah, I do.
I liked it so much I bought the
I'm
company.
just trying to think what it was. But yeah, I remember that.
Was it Gillette or something? I don't know.
Something like that. Oh dear. So speaking of buying companies,
yep,
Amazon is buying MGM.
Oh,
$8.45 billion in the second largest.
You know, that's because they put in that CGI line and nobody wanted it anymore. It just ruined everything. We talked about that a few shows ago.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what caused
it. It was all downhill after that.
So Amazon, announced that it will acquire film production company Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, or MGM, for $8.45 billion. Marks Amazon's second largest acquisition behind Whole Foods, and will drastically increase the number of film and television titles available on Prime.
I don't want to subscribe to another service. I got Crunchyroll and Disney Plus and Netflix, and now I have to get Amazon Prime.
The real financial value behind this deal is the treasure trove of IP in the deep catalogue. They plan to reimagine and develop together with MGM's talented team. Basically, obviously, Amazon's been doing TV shows and movies and stuff for a few years now, so it's, they kind of... And MGM really hasn't been doing much in the last few years, ironically, so it's probably not a bad thing. MGM has
been up for sale for a while.
Yeah, MGM has a back catalogue of 4,000 films and 17,000 TV shows. So Prime's got that straight away.
Yep.
That's going to help them compete with Netflix.
Watch all those shows disappear from everywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one place that'll still be available.
Yeah.
Pirate Bay.
That's it. But I think, honestly, okay, it's going to be great to have that back catalogue of shows, but honestly, I think it's more the... because they have obviously a history of production and TV shows, and they got MGM Studios, like they got, a lot of that stuff already set up.
Yep.
So I think in terms of producing new content, I think it'll be a good transition for them. And let's face it, MGM was dying. I mean, they're really, probably the last 10 years, they really have done not a lot. Compared to a lot of the other,
Warner Brothers or something.
Yeah. So I think the last thing I remember MGM doing was like James Bond or something.
Yeah.
So
all the James Bond will be on Prime. Prime people will be happy about that.
The irony is it's one of the oldest production companies as well. It's been around for pre-silent movie era.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good documentary. You can get it on YouTube. It's a two-parter. And I think I'll quickly look it up while we're talking. I think it's called The History of MGM. It's an official documentary they released.
That's two big studios because Fox was sold to Disney. I wonder who's next.
Remember, it's funny because we were talking a couple of weeks ago about how they've the history of the line, like they've just updated their line.
Yep.
So that was funny. But yeah, I'm trying to look it up quickly what it is. There's something about the history of MGM or story of MGM, something like that it's called.
Yep.
And it starts off, way back in the day when they were a silent movie company and black and white, and moving forward and how they adapted to change and overcome all the dramas and all the wartime stuff and how they introduce sound and color and
Yep.
and yeah, it's a really good documentary if you can find it. It's definitely worth the watch. It's got a lot of really good archival footage in it, a lot of really interesting stuff. So it'd be interesting to see the new. I mean, it's a new. A new evolutionary path for them, I suppose. Like, you know, they adapted from silent film to audio film, then they adapted from black and white to color, and you know, so it's just another transition phase for them, really.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with like their theme parks, like the MGM studios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
See if they change or stay the same or whatever.
Video game and hardware studio Valve has been secretly building a Switch-like portable PC designed to run a large number of games on the Steam PC platform via Linux, and it could launch, supply chain willing, by year's end. Multiple sources familiar with the matter have confirmed that the hardware has been in development for some time, and this week Valve itself pointed to the device by slipping new hardware-related code into the latest version of Steam, the company's popular PC gaming storefront and ecosystem. On Tuesday, SteamDB operator Pavel Judnik spotted the change in Steam's code, which pointed to a new device named Steam Pal. The name is derivative of previously discovered code term Neptune, which began appearing in September of last year and came with the Neptune optimized games string. At the time, curious code crawlers thought this discovery referred to some type of controller. Technically, that's true. The Steam Pal, whose name we're putting in this is scare quotes. I don't think it's scare quotes. I think it's square quotes.
Square quotes? Air quotes.
Because we do not have confirmation of the device's final name. It's an all-in-one PC with gamepad controls and a touchscreen. In other words, it looks and functions like a Nintendo Switch, albeit without removable Joy-Con controller functionality. It's probably a good thing because a lot of people complaining about Joy-Con drift and stuff these days and have to get them replaced. The Steam Power will feature a system on a chip likely coming from either Intel or AMD, not NVIDIA. The aforementioned Switch-like PC manufacturers have leaned on both AMD and Intel for their products. It's unclear whether Valve will release multiple SKUs to offer customers a choice of power level, battery life, and other specs, as other Switch-like PCs have offered over the past year. At least one Steam Pal prototype version is quite wide compared to the Nintendo Switch. This extra width accommodates a slew of control options. No, Valve is likely not slapping an entire QWERTY keyboard onto the system, but the company has packed in a standard array of gamepad buttons and triggers, along with a pair of joysticks and at least one thumb-sized touchpad, in addition to the touch-sensitive screen. The Steam Pal's touchpad is likely smaller than the pair of touchpads that came standard with every Steam controller. Steam Power Switch-like properties will include the option to dock to larger monitors via its USB-C Type-C port, but don't have firm details on exactly how that connection will work or whether Valve has any plans for an eventual Steam Power dock. Sounds interesting.
It'll be interesting. A few companies have tried this. They're not the first to do it, but
they've certainly got a big catalogue of games that could go onto it quickly and easily.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, they're definitely one of the bigger companies that's tried it. So we'll see what happens there. I mean. I can't imagine it playing all the games because obviously some of them require dedicated hardware, some of them, you know, different things. But even if it gets you through the common ones and the more popular ones,
at 720p or something.
I mean, even if it's only their games, they still have a decent catalogue of games. So, you know.
Half-Life 3 when?
Yeah, that's you know.
I don't think Alex counted.
So yeah, no, that'll be interesting to see what happens and sort of how that progresses, and if it gets some other makers or manufacturers interested in doing something like that, because it's been a pipe dream for a lot of companies for long. I remember when do I remember Steam being sort of announced as a thing? Probably will have to be where Android and Apple was sort of just starting in the phone market. And I remember a thing saying, "Oh, we've got this device, and you don't need a computer; it just plugs into the internet, and you can play games." And
Yep.
which it did technically work, but you had lag spikes, you had ping issues, you had rendering issues, like all this stuff. They were trying to do it the wrong way. They were trying to use a cheap device and
Stream the game to you.
stream the game and let the server handle the rendering and the
That's
movement
what
and everything.
the Google Stadium does.
Yeah, but back then they didn't have the technology to
Apparently,
do
it doesn't do it well either. And there's rumors people think it might die.
it. Yeah, possibly. But now it looks like they've gone the other way. Hardware's got to the point where it's cheap enough where they can make the game play locally, and they've only got to try and stream the data, which really reduces your IP and ping times and data packet transmissions.
Yeah, just
and
send
stuff.
it all
But
UDP.
it will still be an issue, but no more of an issue than it is on a standard game that you're playing online through Steam anyway, because it's not going to be like you're trying to move left and then you have a packet drop and a packet loss, and then by the time it gets back to you, you've moved right 3 foot, So,
I wonder if they'd run it over 5G. That would be interesting.
well, in theory, there's no reason why you couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you could tether it to your phone, but it would be better if you could whack a SIM in there and then play it just about anywhere.
Yeah.
There's so many games that you can't play offline.
There really is a lot, and it's getting
Ridiculous.
worse. I didn't have internet here a couple of weeks back, and I think in my Steam... Well, you've seen my Steam catalog. It's stupid how many games I've got in there.
At least 5 games in there.
Yeah, at least. Well, having said that, I think there may have been 5 games I could have played offline. I think literally every single one of them wouldn't work, except 2 or 3
you
of
Mr.
them.
Humble Bundle.
Yeah, Humble Bundle, yeah. I think there was, Lego's Adventures or something, Minecraft, and even Minecraft now complains that it's not online. There was a couple of driving games, and I think that's about it. Even single-player games that have no references online don't let you play offline. It's like, for crying out loud.
You know why? All their analytics code is in there, analyzes everything you do and where you go and what you do and what you press on. Every single thing about it has got analytics, and it's ridiculous because the game won't run just because they want to capture all that data.
At least put a fallback in there to say if there's no internet connection or if the Steam servers are down, at least let you play it.
Yeah, no.
They
won't do it.
So
Any more from you? We're nearly up to our hour.
Yeah, just a quick tip that somebody told me about the other day. They have a iPhone. It doesn't, well, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't work on Android. I did do a quick Google search and couldn't find anything. But they got into a serious accident and had a lot of blood everywhere. And obviously you can't use your phone if it's wet, effectively, whether it's blood or water or whatever. It doesn't work. But he remembered that if you press, I think it was the volume up or down button, like 10 times rapidly, it automatically dials 000.
Oh, nice.
Even if the phone's locked. Yeah. So he couldn't use the phone to call out, but he just pressed the volume button and it dialed 000. It gives you like pops up a screen when a siren blares.
Yep.
And it says it has a countdown from like 5 or something. And you can cancel it, so if it's accidental, you can cancel it. But if it's deliberate, you just let it count down, then it rings 000 at the end of it.
Mine did that this morning while the phone was in my pocket.
What rang 000?
I heard, it's like, what's going on? It said emergency calling, so I'm like, cancel. And then it has this pop-up that says, if you had any numbers that were blocked due to spam or whatever you didn't want, those are now unblocked for the next 10 minutes because you used emergency call, and then it'll reblock again. But you can make it auto block right again now. It's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Why do you want people who you've blocked to be able to call you if you accidentally or on purpose dial an emergency?
It makes sense, I guess, though, because you might have people you normally wouldn't want to call, but like if anybody answers their phone sort of deal, I kind of understand that. But
well, you'll be calling them, so that would still work, wouldn't it? You're only blocking incoming calls.
No, I think if they're blocked, you can't outgo call either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it completely.
I never tried. You know why? Because I don't want
No,
to talk to those people.
But I don't. I'm just thinking. I've got some spam in my because it's coming up with auto spam lately. I've been getting a lot of huge amount of auto spam calls lately.
Yep.
And
there's a new rule going into the US from one of the courts or something saying the networks have to block auto dialers or they're going to start fining the cell companies.
Yeah.
No more robocalls.
Because I noticed that, on the ones that it's auto-blocked for spam, you know how normally you scroll through your contacts list, it's got the call next to it, they don't have it. So, But, so I just thought that someone might, find that. Just check with your particular phone.
Yep.
As I said, it does give you a chance to cancel the call. So test it, see if it works. I can't remember if it's volume up or volume down. You could Google it or you could just try it. Yep. There is a service. I need to look into it. There used to be a way to do it on Android, something very, very similar, but it didn't work on my phone. Now, I've got a Xiaomi, so whether what used to work on the Samsung, it was just only a Samsung thing. I thought it was an Android thing, but it may not have been. I need to look into it a bit more and see. It's also possible I've disabled it by doing something dumb because, let's face it, I do that all the time. But I thought that was a very interesting thing to note. I do know on my old Android, when I had the Bluetooth headset in, if I accidentally spammed the call button 4 or 5 times, it would try to do an emergency call.
Yep.
Whether or not that works on the phone, I don't know. But yeah, so there's that.
I'm having a look at the options. The only thing I've got is if you're on the lock screen, swipe up and press the emergency thing, but you couldn't do that if you had a liquid on your hands.
That's right, yeah. That's one thing you can do with Android, yeah. If the screen's locked, you can still place an emergency call. So it doesn't stop you from doing that, which is good, I suppose, but yeah. So...
I'm just finding, if you got Android... for Android devices, the service is different. Android SOS functionality will not call 911 for you, but the phone will capture photos and audio and send text messages up to 4 people who you designate.
Okay. Well, that seems... Well, what if you designate AAA?
Yeah. Well, they'll get a text message SMS. I don't know. Do they receive them?
We did a story a couple months ago, remember, about how they're implementing...
they're going to, yeah.
I haven't actually chased out to see if they end up doing it or not. They were going to implement the service where you could send them a text message for if you couldn't get voice or for whatever reason you couldn't talk, you could send them a text message. Whether or not that's been done, we should actually chase it up as a follow-up story.
You can email us about it, but I do have enabled stuff like detect if the phone is in a pocket and lock the screen and stuff like that. I have it in my pocket. My wallet is in front of it, so I don't turn that around because the wallet could bend the screen. So I have it up against my leg, and through the jeans material, which is quite thick, it detects beep, 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 and dials.
What's interesting... Remember my one complaint when I first got this phone was that the screen would always come on, regardless of how you had it set up. Well, that doesn't do it now. They've fixed whatever.
Doesn't come on anymore. How you use it?
I know, it doesn't come on at all anymore.
The battery went flat, didn't it? You're like, hey, problem solved.
But there's been... I think I've had that phone... When did I get it for my last birthday, didn't I? Or did I get it for Christmas? I don't know. I had it, but between 6 and 12 months. I was saying closer to 12 months, I think. And there's been like 4 or 5 firmware updates.
Yep.
And after the first couple of firmware updates to fix that, that was the biggest gripe I had with that. The screen was just always on.
Now it's not.
But it's not now. They fixed that problem.
It should help your battery.
It does. I was getting, I'm at 94% and I took it off charge at 6 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
So, I use a fair bit at work.
What I got. 36%.
So I've used 6% in 18 hours. So that's I'll give them one thing. Their battery life's amazing on these things.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Head Show. We can be found at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, and coffee.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Email us Will or Warlock at aussietechheads.com.au and go to aussietechradio.com 24/7 back-to-back playback of tech-related shows from around Australia and New Zealand. See you next time.
Bye.